Hello again, my name is John and I am a nobody. My father didn't hate the Rolling Stones, he despised them. So it's ironic that years later his son, or one of them, would be playing with a member of the Rolling Stones. I had the great privilege of meeting Mick Taylor and playing with him, and it has to be said that he was a lovely man. So this is the story. When I first met Nicky Sudden, and we met in a pub, in a Kneipe in Kreuzberg, I didn't know anything about him, and I'd been recommended by somebody else. And luckily I mentioned not Mick Taylor but Ronnie Wood, because I was a Faces fan. Now I didn't know that Nicky was a big fan of the Rolling Stones, but he was. And so that was a big plus for me. The second big plus was having my own hair, so that was good. What was not good was that I spoke German, which he did not like, so that was a negative for him. But we were living in Berlin, which was at that time the capital of Germany, and the last time I looked they speak German in Germany, so I didn't really understand what the problem was. Some people don't seem to understand what Nicky was like, and it's almost amusing to think that he was or would have been in favour of the EU, because I've never met anybody more English than Nicky, and in a positive and negative sense. Anyway, after his sad demise, it was decided to do a gig in London in his memory, and Mick Taylor came. He came to the funeral, which was perhaps another story, which was very nice of him, and Ronnie Wood actually sent flowers, which was very nice of him too, in the shape of a guitar, which was a really nice thought. So thanks for that, Ronnie Wood, if you're listening, which I doubt. Anyway, we had a little rehearsal for the gig that evening, and we were doing it in this little room which we hired, and I'd heard that Taylor, Mr. Taylor, who I played with on the Treasure Island record, had actually put on a little bit of weight. So I got a stool for him and a stool for his guitar amp, and he turned up. I was looking at the drummer and playing, and I saw something move out of the side of my head, or eyes, or eye, and I looked, and it was Mick Taylor, who had got up off his seat and was rocking away to the music with me and the drummer, and it was just fabulous. The late and great Darryl Barth was also there, and we walked to the gig and to the venue, and I was with Mick Taylor, and you know, what do you ask him? Well, you don't ask him why he left the Stones. He's been asked that question 1,000 times before. But I knew that he'd done an album in 1979 after he'd left the Stones, and that Alan Spencer had played on one track at least. So I asked him what it was like playing with Alan Spencer, because I'm a big fan, as you know. And well, if you've watched the video of the charming evening I spent in his company and in the company of Kokomo, who we used to play with, I asked Mr. Taylor what he thought of Alan Spencer, and he said and I quote, he was a bass player's bass player, which is kind of a nice compliment. We did the gig. It was, I don't remember much about it, but backstage it was great, you know, and Mick Taylor was very relaxed and very nice, and I met his girlfriend as well, who was also very nice. And I remember playing and not being so amazed at Mick Taylor, who was great as usual, but being very impressed with Daryl, because Daryl Barth was just rocking it. You know, he was playing his thing, doing his thing, and it was wonderful to see him on stage next to this living legend and not being thrown off in any way, just doing his thing, playing his guitar. That's what stayed in my mind, and the fact that Mick Taylor was very nice. So this is another story about not painting people with the same brush. You know, I've met a few well-known people, and they've all been nice. And as somebody from, or was it, I can't remember if it was actually him or somebody else, but I met a famous guy who told me that you have to be nice to people coming up because you might see them on the way down. And there's so much truth in that. So I hope you enjoyed this, and please take care of yourself and those you love. And I'll see you in the next one. Tschüssikowski.